Welcome to this explainer. Today, we're diving into some complex research and breaking it down so you can actually put it to use. We're tackling a truly universal, honestly kind of mind-numbing experience. You absolutely know the one. You sit down on the couch, you open up an app, and boom, suddenly an hour has just completely vanished into this blur of 15-second videos. Whether it's cooking hacks, stand-up comedy, or I don't know, people aggressively cleaning rugs at 3 a.m., short-form video platforms have just completely rewired how we consume media. But what's actually happening in our brains when we swipe up to the next video? Well, today we're unpacking the really fascinating science of the scroll. Why can't I just stop scrolling? It's a question we've all asked ourselves, usually at like 2 a.m. when the screen glare is literally the only light in the room. Why can't we stop? Well, it turns out this isn't just a matter of weak willpower or a simple lack of discipline. Not at all. The digital habits we've built around short-form video are deeply rooted in some core psychological mysteries. To really understand our screen time, we have to look past the bright colors and the catchy trending audio and look directly at the hidden engine driving our behavior: human motivation. And to really grasp the scale of this whole phenomenon, we have to look at the data. Get this. As of 2025, TikTok alone surpassed a staggering 1.99 billion monthly active users. That's billion with a B. And that is just one platform. When you throw in Instagram Reels and YouTube Shorts, you're looking at a massive, massive portion of the global population, fundamentally shifting how they interact with information and entertainment. So this isn't just some niche hobby anymore. This is a dominant mode of global digital engagement, especially among young adults. With numbers this massive, figuring out the why behind the scroll becomes absolutely crucial.
Decoding our motivations.
Okay, let's dive right into this. To figure out the why, an international team of researchers from South Korea, Singapore, and the United States realized pretty quickly that they couldn't just use old metrics designed for, say, Facebook or general smartphone addiction. The rapid-fire, algorithm-driven nature of short-form video, it's just a completely different beast. So they built a brand new map, the Multidimensional Short-Form Video Use Motivation Scale. By testing this custom tool on over 1,700 frequent users, and by that I mean people watching more than 2 hours of short videos a day, they sifted through all the noise to pinpoint exactly what psychological needs these 15-second clips are fulfilling.
Now, check out all this intense, beautiful math. I know it kind of looks like a wiring diagram for a supercomputer, but this structural equation model is actually a map of human desire. Don't worry, you definitely do not need a PhD in statistics to understand it. The big, brilliant takeaway from all these complex factor loadings is actually super simple. It turns out every single reason you have for endlessly scrolling boils down to just two completely different psychological paths. Let's take a look at the first one.
Path 1. Instrumental motifs.
So when you're on this instrumental path, you're exhibiting what psychologists call approach-oriented behavior. Basically, you are actively hunting for a specific positive reward. You aren't just scrolling by accident. You've opened the app with a subtle, underlying goal to gain something good out of the whole experience. The researchers broke this down into three distinct drivers. First up, there's fun-seeking. This is just pure hedonic enjoyment. You want to laugh, you want to kill some boredom on your commute. Second is information-seeking. You want to learn a new Excel shortcut or find a quick recipe for dinner. It's rapid knowledge acquisition. And third is convenience. These apps are so frictionless, the algorithm just spoon-feeds you exactly what you like, requiring an incredibly low cognitive load. Your brain absolutely loves this path because it gets a quick, effortless dopamine hit.
Path 2. Avoidance motives.
Now, we pivot to the slightly darker side of the algorithm. On this second path, the phone isn't really a tool for discovery, it's more like a shield against reality. Scrolling isn't about finding something good, it's entirely about escaping something uncomfortable. Let's unpack the two heavy drivers here. The first is escapism. This is when you use the infinite scroll to just evade negative emotions, maybe stress at work or deep feelings of loneliness. It acts as a coping mechanism. The second driver is something uniquely modern: social disconnection avoidance. And this isn't just regular FOMO, this is the intense pressure to monitor incredibly fast-moving cultural trends so you just don't feel left out. Both of these are what we call compensatory behaviors. They act as negative reinforcement, temporarily relieving psychological distress, but they never actually solve the root problem. I really want to emphasize this specific definition because social disconnection avoidance is such a fascinatingly modern phenomenon. Think about it. The turnover of viral trends on these platforms is brutally fast. A joke or a meme is hilarious on Tuesday and completely forgotten by Friday. This creates a deep, lingering anxiety. Users feel a genuine, pressing urge to keep scrolling just to avoid the anxiety of missing the joke that everyone else will be making tomorrow. It's an exhausting treadmill of cultural relevance, driven almost entirely by the fear of being socially excluded. And all of this brilliantly illustrates the core duality of our screen time. On one side, you have the instrumental path, seeking positive gratification. It's purposeful, it's lighthearted, and utility-oriented. But then on the other side, you have the avoidance path, escaping negative states. This one is heavy, compensatory, and compulsive. You might start your evening seeking positive gratification, looking for a quick laugh. But as you get tired, stressed, or lonely, you can so easily slip right into the avoidance path, literally using the glow of the screen to push away the silence of the room.
Predicting intensive use.
So let's see how this actually builds into real-world consequences. Because let's face it, spending 3 hours watching videos of people organizing their pantries isn't exactly a neutral event in your day. The researchers wanted to see which path actually drives that intense, out-of-control usage. And here is their most critical and, honestly, most concerning finding. While both paths are linked to lower self-control, because, let's be honest, infinite scrolling drains everyone's willpower, only the avoidance path is tied to real-world social deficits. Avoidance motives are uniquely linked to loneliness and social isolation. If you're scrolling to escape, you are far more likely to be experiencing a genuine lack of social support and connection in your offline life. The app is basically serving as a digital band-aid for a real-world wound.
So the crucial point really comes down to the variance in intensive use. When researchers pitted these motivations against each other to see which one is the stronger driver, avoidance motives absolutely blew instrumental motives out of the water. Avoidance accounts for a 0.11 variance in intensive, problematic use compared to just 0.07 for instrumental. What this means in plain, everyday terms is that running away from your problems traps you in the algorithm far, far more intensely than just logging on to have a good time. Which brings us to a foundational psychological reality. Negative reinforcement exerts a stronger escalatory pull than positive reinforcement. It makes perfect sense when you think about it. When you scroll to find something funny, which is positive reinforcement, you can eventually get bored and just put the phone down. But when you scroll to relieve anxiety, stress, or loneliness, which is negative reinforcement, the very moment you put the phone down, those negative feelings rush right back in. So what do? You pick it right back up again. Seeking relief creates a far stickier, much more compulsive loop than simply having fun. So what should we all take away from this? Well, the science shows us that the tool itself isn't inherently good or bad. It's the psychological engine driving our thumb that determines our digital well-being. By understanding the difference between the instrumental and avoidance paths, we can actually take our power back from the algorithm. I want to leave you with a provocative thought today. The next time you open your favorite short-form video app, just pause for a single second and ask yourself, are you seeking or are you escaping? The answer might just change how you spend your next hour. Thanks so much for joining me on this explainer, and I'll catch you next time.